Donald Trump Jr.'s X account has been hacked, and he is posting a whole bunch of silly nonsense, which is quite hilarious. And that's it. That's the general idea of the story here. I will show you the tweets. I will only read some of them because they're quite hilarious. But there's a bigger story at play, and that is the beginnings of the 2024 election cycle and how you will be manipulated. These things are only just getting started. Now, look, people are always trying to hack someone else's account or something like this, so I don't think this is too unique, to be honest. Somehow, Donald Trump Jr.'s X account got taken over. Who knows? Could have been a phishing attack. For those that aren't familiar, basically, they send you an email that appears to come from a company or even from a friend because they can spoof. This is where the spoofing is where they take the identity of someone else. They can actually make it seem like you received the email from Google, from X, from your friend. They can pick any email address they want. So maybe it was just a phishing attack, but it is quite funny. But it brings me into the bigger conversation about misinformation, disinformation, and how they are going to start manipulating your mind as you enter 2024. It's going to be interesting because while we may joke about Donald Trump Jr.'s X account being hacked, these posts, I want to say tweets. I want to say tweets so bad. These posts are so over the top. We know for a fact that Don Jr. was hacked. But imagine this. Imagine someone took over his account and then actually posted something serious and believable, like that he'd been diagnosed with a disease or that he was indicted over charges related to January 6th. This can send shockwaves through the American economy and political ecosystem and can cost people money, could destroy lives. Fortunately, it seems that whoever hacked Don Jr.'s account is like just some young person doing something stupid. So sure, whatever. They're posting about nonsense. But we did see this back in the day with Barack Obama and the AP. The Associated Press got hacked, probably because some low-level employee there stupidly clicked a link, because there's nothing you can do about stupid people wanting to click those links. You can tell them 50 million times. They'll still click it. Oh, I'd love to talk about phishing. But these hackers, I believe it was the Syrian Electronic Army, posted that Obama had been injured in an attack on the White House, and this caused a massive stock drop-off, which did not recover. There was a drop-off around 10% or so, and then the market recovered only around 8% because there were people who had, preset sell orders in the event of an economic collapse or in the event of a price dropping to a certain amount, triggered, sold, didn't buy back in. Has huge ramifications. A massive drop-off like that in the market means you had, in the blink of an eye, people lose millions of dollars and go into the poorhouse, and people gain millions of dollars. It's really nuts. And that money change, it didn't get reversed. That's the scary reality of how these systems operate. But let's talk about where we're currently at, because the conversation around where and how you are going to be manipulated and misled, it is thick, it is juicy, and I can't wait to talk about Hunter Biden and the spies who lied. The intelligence assets, former agents and officials who lied and claimed that Hunter Biden's laptop wasn't real because they were trying to trick you. Now, that's stage one. That's the entry-level manipulation when they just lie. But imagine now the power of AI. And I've got some examples for you. I'm going to make some of your favorite personalities say what I want them to say. Here's a story from the New York Post. Trump Jr.'s X account hacked. Claims father died. Oh, now you've got memes popping up saying, don't care, still voting Trump. Zombie Trump, if it's true. Trump Jr.'s X account was hacked early Wednesday, sending a series of offensive tweets, including a sickening one falsely announcing the death of his dad, former President Donald Trump. I'm sad to announce my father, Donald Trump, has passed away. I will be running for president in 2024, read the first message from Don Jr.'s account at 8:25 a.m. A series of obviously hacked messages quickly followed, including an inflammatory one saying that North Korea is about to get smoked, and another pretending to show Don Jr. saying he had some interesting messages with Jeffrey Epstein more than 4 years after Epstein died. Proving he was still alive, the former president sent an unrelated message on his own ex-rival Truth more than 30 minutes after the fake death announcement. That's the big news. Viewer discretion beware. I'll show you some of these posts. But first, Eric Trump said, I don't want Donald Trump Jr. to get his account back. This is all too entertaining. Well, it's fun to be funny. And I guess Donald Trump Jr.'s profile was changed to a CD icon. it's all fun and games when you get lucky. And Donald Trump Jr. is lucky, in my opinion, that he got hacked by people who are just goofing off and posting silly nonsense. Do we have? Yeah, here we go. Here's one of the fake posts. Trump Jr. said, "I'm sad to announce the death of my father." We read this one. Raheem Kassam says, "I've confirmed this account has been hacked. The statement below is untrue, nor are subsequent tweets from this account. We'll keep you posted." There are a lot of other ones that seem to be silly, tweeting at some other personalities. Presumably, the hacker is a young person, maybe in their 20s. And it's really, really funny about how you could easily identify the age of these people. I wonder if they're too young to know or understand that their perception, their matters of interest for them are generation specific. Like when you get older, you start to realize this more and more. Not everybody realizes it. Some people realize it very early on. I think older people totally get it because you got that quote from Abe Simpson where he's like, "I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was. And now what it is scary and it'll happen to you too." It's the famous quote. You get older, you realize what is it doesn't matter. But times are changing. They definitely are changing. And now what used to happen back in the day is that mass media, major record labels and television were trying to cater to the largest market, which is young people, because people have more kids. Isn't it funny how that works? If there are 100 adults and they each have 3 kids, hey, guess what? You're going to have 150 kids. Isn't that how it works? So, or actually, that's, wait, am I way off? 100 adults. I'm sorry. Yes. 100 adults. They're each going to eat 2 of them. So you have 50 sets of parents, each having 3 kids, 150 kids. There you go. And so for these markets, they're saying like, we want to target the larger group and parents will just support their kids. But things are different now because of the internet. There's a market for every generation. So the people who are taking over his account, we can very easily identify what age group you're in. Unless, of course, the hackers are very smart and did this to try and obfuscate how old they really are. But let's talk about where we are. The big news, the actual news this morning outside of the hacking from Politico is that Biden's campaign set to counterpunch on misinformation. With social media platforms pulling back from policing false political claims and Trump gearing up for a fight, Biden's 2024 campaign is rebooting its online defenses. These people are evil. Sorry. And, I hear this stuff all the time where people are like, it's getting dangerous out there when they start referring to everybody as evil. I'm sorry. I've got no answers for you. When the Biden campaign and intelligence agencies lie to you for political power because they believe their moral structures are true and just, it's evil. They do evil things for their own ends. Sorry, there's nothing else. They'll accuse us of being evil. They're political enemies. I don't mean the right or conservatives. It's really funny. You say you say something like this, and then immediately the left starts trying to say, "Aha! He admits it. He's saying us and we." I'm talking about the anti-establishment, which includes people like Jimmy Dore and other prominent left and liberal personalities that believe in truth. But this is the nature of where we are. They're evil. I'll give you an example. Joe Biggs, 2 decades in prison. What did he do? They said that he knocked down a barricade. So he goes to prison for 2 decades. That's it. Seriously. They say, we don't know exactly when I have one of these individuals on the Culture War show. They say, I don't follow the stories, but it seems to be generally a good thing. That's the banality of evil. That they would allow such an injustice because it supports their general mission. They treat you like trash, like a number, like a statistic. Your individual rights and liberties are meaningless. They're evil. That is evil. Sorry. It's like the Borg in Star Trek. The Borg's the bad guy. For those that aren't familiar with Star Trek, it's the collective, a hive mind of all of these beings that just march in lockstep, don't care, don't think, don't communicate, controlled by the hive queen. And they're evil. They're bad guys. Individual liberty is what we are here to protect and support. But more importantly, let me break down for you the simplicity of why they are evil beyond a reasonable doubt. Aside from the fact that they would sacrifice an individual and all of these individuals on bogus, trumped-up charges and then defend their own when they commit atrocities, you may be asking, but why is meritocracy and individual liberty good, and why is collectivism bad? Well, the reality is some collectivism is fine, some. But the truth is decentralization is the path towards security, not centralization. Command economies have failed every time they've been tried, for the most part. These communist countries, what do? They say, we're going to control the economy. But unfortunately, a committee of 12 or 24 or even 5 or even 1, they cannot accurately predict and control for how a market needs to operate among large populations, in which case you must protect the individual liberties so that we as humans can adapt rapidly. That is to say, the people who would lie, cheat, and steal. And how about this one? Here's a story from the New York Post. Spies who lie. 51 intelligence experts refuse to apologize for discrediting true Hunter Biden story. This is from March of 2022. You see, these people thought we are true, correct, and good, and our way is the only way, and Trump is bad. This centralization will lead us to our demise, because what will happen is you will have a singular group of individuals of a singular ideology. They will cut out anyone who believes anything different. And then what happens? The homogenization of thought results in the collapse when a crisis emerges. To a hammer, everything looks like a nail. When we are confronted on all sides by international conflict and the collapse of our economy, what happens? Well, in a truly decentralized system, you will have different networks of the smartest people working to solve and adapt to these problems. Some will fail, some will collapse, some will succeed. Eventually, the ideas that are good expand and explode and then become the way forward. That is how we survive. If you centralize all authority to a single group and a conflict emerges, they will not see it any other way. They will enact their singular plan based on their limited perspective. And when they fail, we all do. That's the failures of centralized systems. They collapse. The same is true for communism versus capitalism. Why do we have 87 different brands of peanut butter and the Soviet Union had none? Because they could not accurately control for how an economy should operate, what people want at any given time, and more importantly, arbitrage. It's really fascinating. We were talking about that. I was talking about this with Jeff Younger when he was on the Culture War show. After the show, we were talking about it. And he basically said it allowed investment and the movement of goods into areas where they were more needed, where they were needed more. And that solved a lot of the food crises. People trying to profit off of trade because it was more valuable to sell food in certain areas. They started making these bets and it worked. Decentralization, a bunch of different people. So this is the challenge of combating this evil. The Biden campaign, its intelligence agencies and assets seek to control the narrative, but that will result in our failures. You wonder why it is the American system is so broken and fractured and nonsensical, why there's conflict and crisis and we're on the verge of war. It's because a very small group of people, the Democratic establishment elites and their uniparty Republican allies, control the machine without any interference. And they won't relinquish power. I mean, come on, Mitch McConnell freezing, Dianne Feinstein being taken out for medical issues, signing away her power of attorney to her daughter. Joe Biden going, our institutions, just muttering and sputtering. They won't give up their power to anyone. They have centralized it. They will not stop. Joe Biden, according to Democrats, is not long for this world. It's a horrible thing to say, but I don't think it's an unreasonable assessment considering that Joe Biden is 80. He's past the average life expectancy. But where we currently are is you have people associated with the Democratic Party and the Republican establishment who want to control everything indefinitely, and you can't. You have to let go. You have to let various ideas compete so that the best one wins. And that was the power of Trump's 2016 campaign. Memes. You know, the brilliant thing about 4chan 10 years ago, less so today, but very much so in a lot of ways. They made all the memes. They really, really did. Because everyone goes to this message board and they would all post memes and the best ones would get shared by everybody. That's meritocracy. The Democrats struggled with this because they had a command structure. A lot of people were wondering why it is the left could not meme. And yeah, they still can't. Not like the right is producing as many memes as they used to because the machine has shifted. Censorship started taking hold. Censorship especially. The left struggles because you can't post something without approval. If you go think about this, why is it that every person on every libertarian, post liberal or conservative, they'll come on Timcast IRL, Culture War, any other podcast like that, but leftists don't do it. It is very difficult to book them. Why? Because they don't know what is approved, and if they can't control the flow of the conversation, they put themselves at risk. Whereas on the right, everyone's just sputtering out whatever idea they have at the moment, and then course correcting to figure out what makes the most sense to what will work. And there it is. Right now, interactive poll says presidential general election. Marist has Biden from 11 to 1. This is crazy. From 2020 to 2023. Emerson Biden from 5 to Trump with 2. Quinnipiac has Biden down 10 points. CNN has Biden down 12 points. Fox News has Biden down 6 points. The point is, in 2020, the average polling had Biden at 52% and Trump at 43%. And as of right now, the average for Trump is 47 to Biden's 46. Trump is tracking to win, and they are desperate to control the narrative and control the machine. So that is Joe Biden's counterpunch on misinformation. My favorite thing about all of this is how they have this government, this ancillary project where they start saying, like, all of these people are spreading misinformation, and for which they include my name. Really? I've only ever reported on NewsGuard certified stories, and they called it misinformation. They don't explain to you what they claim is misinformation. It's just their opinion. So you can't file defamation against them because their opinion is their opinion. But then they assert their authority. The Democrats promote it. The corporate Democrat media then comes out and says these individuals are spreading misinformation, and it's all just not true. The reality is, I use sources like the New York Post, Politico, the New York Times, The Economist, all certified by NewsGuard. So if they're saying I'm spreading misinformation, that doesn't reflect kindly on NewsGuard. So, I love to just stamp all over my videos proudly using only NewsGuard certified sources. Then when they come out and say, yeah, but he's misinformation, I'll be like, wow, I didn't realize NewsGuard was promoting misinformation. That's tough. Sorry, NewsGuard. There's nothing you can do about it. For those not familiar, NewsGuard is a service which certifies news agencies. Timcast.com, for instance, was given a rating of 82 out of 100. And I find it laughable. The reason they knocked us down by 18 points was because we published stories of Trump quotes. That's it. Trump says X is the story. He did. That's it. And they're like, why didn't you challenge what he said? And I'm like, we're not an analysis, or we're not writing analysis and opinion. We're just reporting Trump said a thing. Yeah, well, it was wrong. We're not doing a fact check. We're doing a report on Trump gave a speech. Doesn't matter. So I have my issues with NewsGuard. A lot of people do. But this is the establishment machine certification. If they have a problem with the information I'm giving out, blame NewsGuard. I'll say it again. NewsGuard, it's your fault. NewsGuard supports and promotes misinformation. Why? Well, the Election Integrity Partnership says that the stuff I was reporting was fake. NewsGuard told me it was a certified organization. What am I supposed to do? Now, the reality is the Election Integrity Partnership is full of it. But ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are ready for just how insane it is going to get. I am so excited for this. The Economist writes, how worried should you be about AI disrupting elections? Okay. Part of me, I'm worried a little bit about playing clips like this, but it's been done so often and so many times. I think that, we have to address it and call it out for what it is. And that's why the statement I'm going to play from you, from a cloned Jordan Peterson, is an absurdity, but it's to make the point. So hopefully this plays properly, and let's see if it works.
This is Jordan Peterson talking, and I want you to know that I am voting for Ronald McDonald to be president in 2024.
So it takes me 10 seconds to do this. 10 seconds. How about this one? I want you to know that Timcast is awesome. Let's see. I literally just typed that out right now. Here we go. Couple seconds. And
this is Jordan Peterson talking, and I want you to know that Timcast is awesome.
There you go. You ready for what's going to happen in 2024? You think you are not going to see more and more of this? There's laws being passed saying that they have to label AI content, that they can't show AI generated images. Don't matter, because it's not about the law abiding citizens or the political action committees. It's about the people who want to break the law. And to be fair, it's about Russia and China and Iran and any other American adversary. The discord you are about to see is going to be absolutely insane. Here we go. I can do this one in 2 seconds. Let's try this. Here we go. You ready? Let's see if this one works. I just switched it over. It's something called 11 Labs. I'm clicking generate now.
This is Joe Rogan talking, and I want you to know that Timcast is awesome.
So usually when you're using these AI voice generators, it takes, how long did it take to do that? I typed it in, I clicked to go, It was done. Now imagine what they can do. You don't need, right now, high-tech AI video. They've already got it. It's not that good. There are deep fakes of Joe Biden talking and the mouth doesn't seem to move right. You as a younger person may quickly catch this and be like, with a discerning eye. You think everyone's going to? What about when audio gets released of Donald Trump saying something offensive but believable? The media reports on it. Suspicious audio emerges of Donald Trump saying thing. How about this? The audio of Donald Trump saying that he's got, these documents, I could have declassified it, but I didn't. Two things can happen. Two things will happen. First, the media reports it saying it's true. And what we understand of this recording is that it may be true. But let me give you some scenarios. Actually, more than two things may happen. And this is what's going to be scary. First, the audio recordings may be real. And it'll come out and it'll be Donald Trump saying something like, look, we got a strategy for how we're going to file lawsuits and win in 2024. And then Trump just says, that's not real. It's a deep fake. But it is real. Let's say real audio comes out about Biden or Trump, and they will just say, this is a deep fake. You're going to get Karine Jean-Pierre, whoever. And they're going to say, what's this audio of Joe Biden talking to Hunter saying, sign the deal and send me the money? And she's going to say, these are AI, deep faked audio. This is not real. Who's going to believe it? No one will believe it. I will stress that again. If an audio recording came out, there's already an audio recording of a voicemail of Joe Biden talking, sending a message to Hunter. These voice AI generators, you just upload the audio, and then in 10 seconds, you can change to whatever you want. And so what if somebody makes something, and they will, and it doesn't matter if I say it or not, they will, of Joe Biden being like, Hunter, listen to me. This deal has to go through. We need the money. I want my cut. Get it done. And it will be Joe Biden. And the video will get shared. And the media will say lies and disinformation, but it won't matter because nobody trusts the media as it is. So you have the first scenario of denial of real audio or video because they can just say it's not true. You have the second scenario where people will just manufacture fake audio and then everyone's going to believe it. This is the scary reality of where we are with AI voice generation. People will just make whatever they want, and then someone's going to believe it. And that's a scary thought. It just doesn't matter what is true or not. News articles will be written. Suspicious audio shows Trump say certain thing. They'll either deny it. I think they'll deny everything. And that's how easy it's going to be. Whether it be Trump or Joe Biden, they can manufacture this audio in a matter of seconds. We've already seen the DeSantis campaign do this with photos, and it's remarkable how these people defend what DeSantis did. DeSantis' campaign, his war room, put out an ad showing Trump hugging Dr. Fauci. Now, certainly Trump deserves to be criticized for his relationship and how he handled Dr. Fauci, and he's been wishy-washy on this. He deserves no credit when it comes to Fauci. Yet, what did the DeSantis campaign do? They fabricated images through AI generation of Trump hugging Fauci, put it in their ad with the tagline, real life Trump, I think it said. And then when called out, they smirked and said, shut your mouth. Remarkably, that's right. The DeSantis campaign supporters came out and said, so what? If Ron DeSantis, and I like DeSantis, if his campaign is willing to do this, and I view this as evil, abject evil, the manipulation of the public, justification. Oh, but they put out memes about us. They claimed that they were in the right to do this because Brucewitz posted a photo of Ron DeSantis riding on a rhinoceros, like a clear and obvious, ridiculous Photoshop that wasn't even anywhere close to being real. And they said, because you did that, we can now generate fake images. It's evil. Sorry, it is evil to fabricate information, to manipulate people for political power. And I'm not saying nobody's doing it. In politics, everybody lies. So how worried should you be about AI disrupting elections? As worried as you want to be, I guess. But the reality is this. You think it's bad? It's going to be nothing but AI garbage throughout all of 2024. You are going to hear things from Donald Trump. They're going to use it as criminal evidence. Don't be surprised. More importantly, don't be surprised if Donald Trump outright just says, those recordings were fake. They're not real. I didn't really say that. Now, let me tell you the final scenario that will freak you out that most people aren't considering. Do you remember every single conversation you've ever had? You don't. Do you remember everything you've ever said on the phone? You don't. You can certainly remember whether or not you said something psychotic or absurd. Like if you were on the phone with a friend and they claimed that you told them the moon was made of cheese. You'll say, what? There's no way I said that. But in many circumstances, there are many circumstances where a person is testifying and presented with audio and they say, I honestly don't remember that conversation. Of course you don't. I can't remember what I said in a phone call with someone 3 months ago. So here's what comes next. Phone call with Donald Trump. And he says something like, look, it's very important that we get 50,000 votes in these states. We have to do this. That's the margin we lost by, and that's what we'll need to win. Let's say Trump really does say that. A seemingly normal statement. He's talking to someone who handles campaign work, get out the vote programs and things like that. He says, we have to get these votes. So get out there and get these people to vote. Someone takes an audio recording of that, uploads it to 11 Labs. They then alter the get them to vote. They change a single word. They change something very mundane. Donald Trump then says, listen, we have to fake these votes. We need 50,000 if we're going to win because that's what we lost by. So get out there and fake these votes. It's an actual conversation Trump has, and they change but a single word. Now what happens is Donald Trump or someone else, they're going to be like, I remember when I was talking to this guy. And you're going to say, there's no way I said that. That's got to be fake. And they'll be like, did you place a call at this time? And here's the recording, and here's the voicemail, and here's the forensic evidence. And all they have to do is slightly alter a single word. And you're going to be like, I had that conversation, yes. They're going to say, did you speak with your lawyers and talk about your daughter? Yes, I did. Did you speak about your late mother? Yes, I did. Did you talk about infrastructure plans? Yes, I did. Did you talk about voting? Yes, I did. I'd like to play for the jury a clip of that recording. And then it's Donald Trump, an actual clip of the recording going like, look, my dad was a good dude. He's a good guy. And he helped me out tremendously. And they're going to say, is this you? Yes, it is. And was the phone call you made? I did make that phone call. I'd now like to play for the jury the next 10 seconds of the recording. So we've got to fake these votes. 50,000's all we need. Get it done. And it's like, I did not say to fake those votes. It's the same recording, sir. You've already said you had this conversation. Why deny it now? What are you going to do? Some forensic expert's going to come in and say, I hereby testify it's fake. And then they'll get their forensic expert who says, that looks real to me. You think I'm joking? You think I'm wrong? No, I'm sorry. It's already happened. You see, in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, the prosecution used AI-generated images to try to convict Kyle Rittenhouse. This is not an exaggeration. This is a fact that they did. You see, zooming isn't real. When you zoom in on an image, they can't actually create pixels. You can only get rid of them. That's why when you zoom in on like a bitmap image, it becomes granular because it's actually just increasing the single pixel. It's like looking at graphics on Mario. Have you try playing an old game from like Nintendo or Sega on a high definition TV and you're like, looks terrible and blocky. So what happened was they zoomed in. The AI creates pixels based on what it thinks is missing to give you an enlarged image. It's not real. It is AI generated. It is an algorithmic generation. And they said, see, when we zoom in, here's what it looks like. And you know what? The court allowed it. So again, I'll stress this and be warned. They'll do it to you. They'll do it to everyone. They'll say, hey, remember on your show, you said Donald Trump will do a backflip off the stairs and land and whatever. What happens then when they AI generate audio that is 99.9% correct, but then they change a single word? They can do it to anyone. They can do it to you. They can do it to Rogan. They can do it to Trump. They can do it to Biden. And then you'll say, like, I remember having that conversation, but I don't remember saying that. And are you really going to know? Because you can't remember every word ever said. How many speeches has Trump given? And who will remember every single one? We've already seen the White House transcripts be edited. Now imagine they edit the audio of it too and say, wrong. Imagine the intelligence agencies just go to like C-SPAN or whatever and they say, swap out video A for video B. And they say, you got it. Here's a national security letter. I hope you're prepared. Next segment is coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.